All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Subbing in for Chris is Carlos the second.
She said that's Vitaly. Yeah, that's Vitaly.
I think she said that's Vitaly the goat.
She said no. What she said was the ghost. But people hear me.
I heard goat.
He's the ghost. She's talking about anybody that knows the album cover for Korn Issues. She's talking about the doll that's on the cover of that album who has one eye, right? He has one eye that's falling. I think it's...
Yeah, kids are so innocent. I love it. Not like old people.
Right, so she calls him the ghost. Okay,
Cute,
go to
man.
mom.
She has her
You
little-
told, her, you told her white people are ghosts?
That's basically what he did.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay. Papa's gonna go outside for 1 minute. Okay. This is where it's really at.
So where are you at, Carlos? You want to let us know?
I don't know if I can switch the camera around, but I am in Laguna Beach
Wow.
right now.
Not bad.
Does it sound really loud? Or can you hear me?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Your daughter's on your laptop.
Finally, someone with some rational thoughts.
Well, she doesn't have
Joining
a
the podcast.
so
Look at that. She adjusted
Hi.
it. She's good. Hey, how you doing?
what
All
is
you
it?
have to say is bye puts.
That's hilarious. I love it.
I mean, honestly,
okay,
this is no different than Chris being in that corner. It's
Yeah,
very
of course.
similar.
Absolutely no difference.
Bye puts.
She's saying boom, boom. All your stocks go crash. All
Carlos,
your stocks.
why'd you go to Laguna Beach for the weekend?
Why do we go here for the weekend? Well, I mean, there's a couple of reasons. I needed a vacation. You guys all know I'm starting a pretty big job soon that's going to consume a lot of my life, and I needed some time off before then. And the other part is, I mean, I haven't announced this live, but my wife is pregnant with our second kid.
Okay.
People don't know this.
Ring the cowbell. Ring the cowbell, baby.
Yeah, ring that cowbell. So, that being the case, this was probably the last time we were going to be able to take a vacation at all before the kid is born. So
When is the expected date?
it'll be December. So like December 31st is actually the due date.
Wow.
So this is the first time my daughter's hearing about this. Yes, you're going to have a brother. I'm sorry we had to do this live on TV.
Look at her. Like,
"Arr."
she reacted.
I don't want a brother.
That's great. That's beautiful.
Oh,
That's awesome,
I
man.
can't
2
do the job.
kids.
That's part of the yes, I'm gonna have 2 kids. So it was just the right timing. I just finished a big job and I'm starting another one and she's pregnant. So it was like a 2-hour drive. Actually not bad. Came down here in the Model X, got here 37% battery. I was really surprised how good it did. We got a nice hotel, nice spot. This is the Strip, sun setting, and the beach all day. Yo, life is good, man. Life is good. Life is good.
I don't
Nice.
know.
Why'd you guys even have me on, man? You had your 4th.
Yeah,
she was doing a better
interrupted
job.
the party.
than I was.
She was here.
Is she talking? Unmute her. Let me hear what she's saying. She's talking about the ghost.
She's gonna be a superstar, bro. She wants the attention.
Hi.
What are you, Savannah? What are you saying? Do you want a brother? Do you want a brother?
She's still talking about that ghost.
I think she's talking about Banks.
Yeah. All right, let me see. Let me get her. Okay, Mama, hold on one second.
All right. No, you cannot send super chats to this channel. We're not monetized yet. Probably in like another week or 2, I think we're gonna get monetized. So we should be.
September.
Oh, because the 90-day thing. Oh yeah. So,
Yeah.
All right. So Carlos is getting ready. He's on vacation. We've got us 4.
5.
Us 5 now. Let me mute his phone out there.
No, we did say that we should have like a female like finance like a influencer join us. There you go, man. Get them young.
She likes the attention.
Finally, a long-term investor on the pod.
She's got nothing but time.
Got nothing but time. Hold on, Carlos, you're muted. Okay, there you go. You're good.
I was like, no, she's like, she has no idea that she's rich. Like, everything I've got is hers. It's like,
And you can't tell her.
no,
Yeah.
She'll never know. Yeah, see.
Did your
Tesla earnings? Rah!
Did your wife really want to go on this vacation too? Was this kind of her
Yeah.
last hurrah before she
Yeah.
gets into the?
We were going to go to Huntington Beach, but then like she was a big fan of that show Laguna Beach, and she told me like early on that she'd always wanted to come to the actual Laguna Beach. And so when we rolled up, she's like, "Oh my God, is this?" I was like, "Yeah, this is where they filmed the show." So it was a bit of an extra cherry on top for her. But no, she's enjoyed it. She's been relaxing. This is a weird town. It's actually not made for people that have kids. Like I don't know if you can see, but like the sidewalks are really small. Can you see? Well, other than right here, like across the street, the sidewalks are really small, so they're not conducive to people with strollers. But there's also a lot of drunk people on the streets. I don't understand. Like, and to get to the beach access, the hills are like really steep. So
Could you start a family in Laguna Beach, or it's not that type of neighborhood?
You wouldn't. I don't think you'd start a family here. Like this is a total vacation town, or like retaires. Let's be honest, or like college kids. So, but no, you're not here to.
I like that she's having her own conversation. She's continuing the talk.
Yeah, what she's talking about. She's
all right.
What she's saying is, guys, if you haven't, please hit like and subscribe to the new channel. Follow all of us on Twitter. She's like, follow my dad. Follow Vital.
Like, I'm gonna inherit the channel anyway, so you guys might as well make me more richer.
Yo, wouldn't that be bananas? The first ever podcast like passed over generation to generation.
That'd be insane.
Yeah,
that would be insane if they.
She just has to be interested in stocks. As long as she is, then
she will be. She will be. She'll know. I'll make sure she knows.
Uncle Chris will teach her how to buy some puts when it's necessary. Right? Uncle Vitaly will teach her how to buy some houses.
She should start buying puts now because she's got a long way to go.
Right.
She's got 30 years of puts to buy.
Short the S&P. Exactly.
Yeah,
what would you teach her,
Amit? For like 30 years.
What would you teach her, Amit?
Oh, I would teach her how to philosophically understand the ontological nature of reality at the intersection of how ethics and all that. That's it.
Oh boy!
All right, so basically, she's going to be supporting you. He's going to be pitching her a startup.
Amit, she doesn't want to be on food stamps. She's trying to make it here.
Yeah, you only have to be up 150% in a year to be on food stamps. That's all.
Spicy.
All right, so Carlos, I'm going to remove her now because we're going to get into the good stuff. Unless we want to leave her there the whole time.
No, let's go.
We're good. All right. So Tesla earnings this week. Netflix earnings. Let's start off with Tesla. I want to start off with Chris first because me and Chris have the least amount of Tesla out of you and Vitaly. Chris, what are your expectations? Margins, Cybertrucks. What are you expecting on Wednesday?
I mean, they did do some heavy discounting, but at the same time, their sales numbers grew. I'm going to be curious to see how their energy business did actually. So if their energy business outperformed, then that could really like buoy the stock higher. It's just going to be about how optimistic Elon is in presenting Tesla's bull case going forward. And I think also whether or not they're going to be a little bit more detailed with regards to some of the launch of the newer products like Cybertruck and some of the other offerings that they have. So I'll be curious to see what's going on. I'll say I have muted expectations for now only because higher interest rates might actually be dampening demand a little bit, but we'll see.
Interesting.
Carlos, you're up. What do you expect?
Well, we were talking about this on Twitter. I think Wall Street's going to focus on Tesla's margins, and even if the margins are say under 20%, let's say they come in at 17 or 18%, they're going to focus on that, but not look at the overall volume of vehicles, which is a record, and they're not going to look at what that did to the overall bottom line. I also think that, energy, I think, is actually going to surprise them, and I think they'll actually get some respect for that. But if those vehicle margins or anything, it doesn't have a 2 in front of it, then they're going to say Tesla's in the toilet. Oh my God, what is this happening to the discounts didn't work, and it's silly because if they discounted it and were able to sell more units, then it was more money to the bottom line, which helped for record deliveries. So I don't have faith in how Wall Street's gonna look at the earnings, and I'm fine with it because I still want to finish the position. I'm still accumulating, so it's fine. Maybe that'll be when.
Vitaly, do you share the same concern Wall Street has on margins going down to around 17%? And do you think that's a reason it's going to dump?
No, it won't dump because of that. I think the margin thing, it dumped before because of the margin thing. So that was what was priced in. The thing now is, Chris mentioned energy. That's not big enough, I think, to matter to Wall Street, even though we know it's growing. So I'm not sure that's a big concern yet. They like to see it growing. They can estimate it now, but I don't think that's what would ever dump or raise
But have
the
you
stock.
seen the news though that you can't get you can't get a mega pack until 2025?
No.
That
But the
was
problem is, yes, it's growing.
You know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
80% plus. We discussed this,
Right.
but the issue is just the amount of vehicles they sell compared to their energy. It's a nothing burger right now, just like their solar business is a nothing burger. Even though it's massive to other companies, it's for them, it's a nothing burger, right?
But
So
if they can forecast 80% growth, then they will start to see what the trajectory.
I don't think that would help the stock. And in fact, I would say the stock would probably sell off, not because they're doing bad. They're doing great, obviously, but we have gone up 100 points in a matter of months, right? So I think a lot already has been priced in because of the Ford and GM coming on board. So much positivity is there. So it's more like, even if they meet expectations and everything is great or beat it slightly, I still see the stock sort of coming down.
Yeah, I agree with
I hope
Vitaly.
so,
The whole expectations of Tesla have ridden up considerably. Like if they were trading in the 200 range, like we saw like earlier in the couple of months ago, like 60 days ago, then yeah, we could have seen a really big positive surprise. But I think Vital is absolutely right. Everything's been kind of priced in, so I don't think this has much room to go further up. You know, so I think this is one of my friends on Twitter, Mukun. He put it very. Carlos, do you mind muting yourself when you're not talking?
Yeah. Well, while you're not talking, just mute your.
Yeah, there you go. He said something very curious on Twitter. Let me just put it up here. Just bear with me for 2 seconds. If you guys want to go on.
Well, while he brings it up, I'm first of all, I'm in line. I'm number 300,000 for the Cybertruck. So it's amazing that they actually started some sort of production on it. At least the first one was made. I don't know how complicated it all is to make. I know there's some pictures floating around the internet with the body, sort of, so some frames being produced. But I'm curious how this ramp is going to play out, and I'm not sure when deliveries happen. That's probably September, right? September, something like that.
So they put that picture up.
So Q3.
Well, it's kind of amazing.
It's
kind of amazing it started. So everybody who always doubts Elon, at the end of the day, I 100% believe Elon gets there. It took since 2018? I forgot what year he announced it, and I put my pre-order. Was it 2018, Carlos? 2019? I don't remember exactly.
They announced it 2017, but some of that was not necessarily Elon. It was Hydra making the gigapresses.
Well, either way, I mean, the announcement was 5 years ago now. That's my point. My point is it's like 4 years ago, whatever it is. And so I've been on this pre-order list for a while, okay? So I'm looking to get my truck, actually, and I do want. And in fact, I'll sell my Model Y and get the Cybertruck. But I think even at 300,000, I am probably 2 years away, 3 years away before I see it.
I'm guessing we'll see 10,000 of these.
Well, then, and what's next year? 100,000. So I'm number 300,000.
Next year I think would be 100,000. But it also depends because there was videos surfacing of another gigapress that just got there in Texas. So I'm sorry, not in Texas. Yeah, it was Texas. So you could theoretically. I don't know. The thing is, we don't know if that was for the Model Y or front rear giga castings or if it's for the Cybertruck. We don't know. But now I think they have 4 total. So we're not sure yet.
I think they're smart enough to release. I think they're smart enough now to release that kind of product because it's a new type of product for them. To release it slowly, see what the issues are, and correct those issues for immediately for next year's version. So 2024, I'm sure there's going to be lots of updates. So yeah, I don't think it'll be a massive ramp, but it is very exciting to be that this is actually happening. It's like the DeLorean of our generation. That's what this is.
Oh yeah.
Here's a question: does the pricing come out already for it or no?
The pricing hasn't come out, but if you look at Farzad, he did a great video breaking down. Him and Warren actually both have really good estimates on how, and they basically look at what other manufacturers' MSRPs are for trucks roughly with the same specs, the same weight. And I think Warren actually did one. This was a while ago though, but he did one where he was physically trying to figure out like what the raw materials cost. You know what I mean? Like this panel must be this big and this big based on the weight and the thickness. This is what it should cost on the supply side and what it could theoretically cost. I think if you pull up, I mean, give me on. I can't see the chat, but I think Farzad was saying it was like 79, 89, and like 99, or 69, 89, 99. I don't think, or maybe 109. Like, so
well, he was saying, yeah, he was saying somewhere around
$109,000.
I think it has to be for the tax credit. It has to be under 85 grand, I believe, for the large vehicle, right? The sort of the SUV vehicle. Is that right? 85 grand for the tax credit, somewhere around there.
I think it's
So
80, so 79,000.
So it'll probably be around $80,000. But the problem is, I signed up when I did a pre-order for a $50,000 dual motor plus the $7,500 for my FSD, which I also got that as part of the package when I did the pre-order. And I'm not getting a $50,000 Cybertruck. That's not happening.
Well, I don't think he said that they're going to prioritize. At the time, he said the tri-motor, but they have to make a quad motor. He already said that they're making a quad motor, so nobody has any pricing on that. And those are the ones that they're going to make first because they're going to be higher margin vehicles.
Which once again goes back to my point that I won't see this truck for 3-4 years.
You won't see it. No, you won't see it for a while.
Yeah.
You won't see it for a while. That's why I ordered the tri-motor, and I would want the quad motor. So we still have to get pricing. Let's get pricing on that. Which would be ridiculous because if you put 4 motors in the Cybertruck, that's one more motor than what's in the Semi. Didn't stand that the Semi has 3 plaid motors. This thing would have 4. I'm assuming they'd be plaid motors. So a 200 kilowatt hour battery pack with what, 4 plaid motor? I don't know. We have to get the exact configuration, but that thing would be a beast.
Okay.
All right.
Chris,
So one of my friends, Mukun, he put this up and it's actually summed it up pretty well. It's like if a company beats earnings, expect a small sell-off. If they have run up a lot, pretty much like Tesla, which is most tech companies. If a company reports in line or misses, then expect even larger sell-off. The only companies that I think will go up big are those that are expected to have modest to poor earnings and have since not moved up since that. So like an example would be PayPal and Sprint, So not Sprint, Sentinel One. So basically the market this time is riding very high on sentiment going into earnings, which is kind of unusual if you think about it, because we're still supposed to get this looming recession. We're still in a much higher interest rate environment. So this run up in tech stocks and this euphoria that we've had in the last 30 to 60 days, it's kind of one of those times where there was a time where you can say things, but now it's time to show them, right? So if you can't live up to those generous expectations, then the market's gonna come after you. So I think overall the market is a bit overvalued right now, but I'm not gonna say that
you missed the perfect
crash.
opportunity to say frothy, and you didn't say frothy. You didn't even.
I'm trying not to. You see that? I was trying not to.
But dude, it's your word, man.
The one thing I'm glad we saw PayPal there, because I've been thinking seriously about PayPal. Once again, I have talked about fintech not having this massive moat, but PayPal is one of the few who has at least some sort of a moat. And I know everybody's getting bullish about it, and actually I am too. I think it's one of the ones that didn't participate at all in any of this. Like people were like, I posted something and someone was like, oh, it's up 12 points. I'm like, dude, there are stocks up hundreds of percent, and you're talking about PayPal went up 15%. I mean, like it's ludicrous. So I think at some point PayPal has to participate if there is a new bull market we're entering, even if there's a dip that's coming, which for some of these stocks, absolutely, like they've just run up so much. But PayPal has not participated. So I'm thinking more about these synthetic longs I've been pushing, at least on myself.
So the funny thing is this was the last quarter, yet people, I don't know why it's so negative. Look at this.
Which one? PayPal? You're still speaking PayPal?
Yeah. Look at this last quarter, okay? From March 2023. Revenue up by almost 10%. Net income up almost 56%. Diluted earnings per share up 62%. Profit margin almost 11. They doubled their profit margin. Operating income, they're up by 50%. You see what I mean? Like, where's the bear case on PayPal at this point?
At this point, it's very hard because if you look at the forward P, what is it? 14? I don't know, something
12.
Reasonable.
12.
Is it 12 still? I thought I checked it was a little bit higher than that. But
let me double check.
Yeah, double check that, because I think I looked and it was a little bit higher than that. But still, it seems like it seems like a very reasonable play, that there is some upside even if it's not massive. But I do think PayPal is like basically a double. That's what I think.
Would you buy options on PayPal or just the stock?
I have. In fact, what I did, this is a month ago, exactly a month, I sold my stock. First I bought a synthetic long, right? So I bought a bunch of calls, sold puts. That's a synthetic long. I did that. And then I sold my shares. certain percentage. And basically, I wanted to take that loss on the shares because I was in PayPal earlier. So I took that loss, converted it to the calls. Now I have to wait. I think the wash sale rule applies, and we should talk about this because I am looking into how does it apply to calls. Chris? Do you know how the wash sale rule applies to calls?
You want to explain wash sale real quick to the audience before we?
So it's 30 days. You can't buy in the same thing in 30 days.
But do options? Is it the same thing for options?
Options is the same thing, as far as I know.
So that's what I'm trying to do, where I'm trying to keep it all within 30 days. So tomorrow, which I've been waiting for, by the way, for a month now, is to do a similar play. I have a lot of PayPal shares, actually. So I'm just trying to do a similar play. Collect take the loss that I have on the shares, convert it all to options, basically. Because I think there's an easy double in the stock, which mean, I don't know, 3x, 4x at this point for the options. I have to check the price of that. So that's what I'm doing, and selling the puts at the same time, because I do think PayPal's bottom was around $4. It never hit it, but to me, the PayPal bottom was always around $40, $45.
58, it hit. Yeah,
it hit 58, didn't hit 45. But I'm saying, like, if you look at the chart, it should, if it touches the bottom, it should be around $45. And honestly, it's pretty cheap right now. So like, I'm seriously looking into it for tomorrow.
I think that's the interesting thing. A lot of these stocks, they've hit bottoms, and it's like if PayPal at 58 or Meta at 88 wasn't the bottom for all the bears that are like, all right, 2024 is gonna be. It's like, well, what really is the bottom? And when you think of it from that perspective, it doesn't mean it has to go to the moon, but it definitely doesn't have to crash as much.
Yeah, because now we need inflation to go up.
Right.
That's what has to happen. Like if inflation makes a U-turn and we're back at 5% next month, yes, we can see a crash in all these stocks. But if that doesn't happen, and true inflation, if you guys looked at it, it's even lower now. Okay, so it's going.
It might even be. It might even be in the one soon, which would be crazy to think.
If it overshoots or something, whatever. Yeah. But it's 2 point something. I don't know, 2.4 or whatever. It's ridiculous.
Vitaly, I'll send you some spreads later after this.
Yeah, baby. In this case, I will look at your spreads. I absolutely will.
Yeah. No, because I'm looking at the pricing right now based on a risk-adjusted return, and it's actually fucking phenomenal. Like, it's really, really fucking good.
So I've been studying this for the last month. I haven't been talking about it a lot, but because I had to wait for the 30 days, and tomorrow is my 31st day. It's like an anniversary.
You get out of jail. Yeah.
I get out of jail, and I can start making some moves. So I don't know if I have to wait till 32 days. That's the thing. I get confused about weekends. I don't know how all this shit counts at the end of the day.
I think here's the thing. I think if you try
30 calendar days, 30 calendar
just 30 days. That's it.
30 calendar days. But if you try to make if you try to put it in order, I think it'll give you a warning. Like I feel like I've seen that warning before on E-Trade. You know when it was? It was when I was trying to make money on UVXY as the market came down, and the only way I was able to continue buying back into it was with new money. Like even though I'd sold to make money, you have to keep basically depositing new money, and then I can buy it again. Because it wasn't a wash sale because I wasn't using proceeds from the previous sale. Does that make sense?
No, I think it's only the stock. It's only the security that you're buying. So if you bought PayPal in any account, doesn't matter where, it's supposed to apply across all when you're doing your taxes.
Hold on a second. Hold on. It might actually be 30 and what a second. Hold on a second. Wash sales rule prohibits selling investment for a loss and replacing with the same security substantial 30 days before or 30 days after.
What does that mean?
I've always got confused by the wash. I definitely fucked up the wash.
But I didn't have that issue. I didn't have that issue when I deposited new money. So like, okay, the market was coming down. My buddy was telling me UBXY, the triple leveraged, basically a triple leveraged put option. So you can make a lot of money, but you can also lose everything. I put 5,000 in. It ran up to like $8,000, sold it. Then I put in another 5,000 in and ran up again and sold it. And I kept doing this over like three days. Some of them I did sometimes 2 or 3 times in a day. But as long as I kept depositing the same money that I was putting into the stock, I didn't have to watch that rule.
So Vitaly, the loss you're going to take on PayPal, you can only take $3,000 of that and put that against your taxes.
You can carry forward losses, but don't forget, I have lots of wins.
Okay, it counts against the money that
it counts against the wins too. At the same time, I'm not getting out of the PayPal position. I'm just converting it to a different form that can actually make me more money. So I'm not. It's like selling your shares, but I'm keeping the position. In fact, increasing it by being more bullish about it, by doing the calls, by selling puts, maybe buying some spreads. The point is the same equivalent money could be used in a different way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, makes sense.
And in this case, I am being opportunistic. Let me just put it this way. I don't want to be a long-term PayPal investor. I did years ago, and I've been holding on to it. But I still believe my thesis is accurate that it's hard for me to see a moat for any of these fintechs. They can all be disrupted super easily by startups, basically. So I'm not saying that there aren't going to be winners, and PayPal is a clear winner and might have a beautiful future. I think my philosophy at this age and stage of my investing is just buy monopolies and don't worry about the rest.
Okay. Speaking of monopolies, is Netflix going to do well, given they are a streaming monopoly? It seems like.
When are their earnings?
Wednesday, same day as Tesla.
To Chris's point earlier, where the market's frothy. Now I'm going to start using that word, Chris. Now that the market's a little bit frothy at the moment, I think we'll be fine as long as, like he was saying, earnings justify those valuations. I think at the first sign of a crack, like if Tesla doesn't do well, Tesla's a little bit different. It's kind of like a crypto on the stock market. It doesn't necessarily move the markets, but if Netflix doesn't do well, then I think that could trigger some sort of correction.
Yeah. Once again, I don't know. Netflix has gone up so much that there is nowhere to go but a little bit down right now. I still think it's a great company, a great stock, but I think these look how much it's also run up ahead. It was at 150.
What is it up here today?
How long ago was it 150? 6 months ago, something like that.
It was at 150.
Beginning of the year.
Oh wow, it's been a while. It was at May 2022, 180.
Okay, so last year.
Yeah.
But still, it had an amazing run, so it's okay to, so Wall Street likes to take profits at some point, and maybe earnings is a good time for them to take it, unless they just blow out the quarter, of course. If that happens.
See, here's the thing. I think people are forgetting they disabled password sharing this quarter, and there were a couple of media outlets that reported they got their single biggest subscription days since 2019 after they did that, which is like a couple million.
So they're going up. Got it.
I think Netflix will do well on subscribers, and the market's going to get them to 460, 470, and then it'll tank. But I don't know if they have anything that necessarily makes a tank on the news.
I wonder how Netflix is impacted by the writer's strike. Because
they're impacted heavy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could be
you can't do anything. You can't.
Well, there was some news actually. They're impacted less, and I forgot where I heard this, but they apparently have content out for around a year, meaning they have their schedule planned, done, shot. I'm not sure if it's edited yet, but they are one of the few studios who do that, who go that far out, basically a year out. While Paramount, Amazon, all these others, Disney, do not have that year. They have only a couple of months. 3 months or so. So they have to keep on the flywheel. So Netflix is not as going to be damaged by this whole thing.
Let me set up a question for both of you, because you both are in the film industry. Carlos, you're about to take up a pretty big gig. Vital, you're on one right now. Can you explain to all of us, what is this writers union? Because this is the first time I've ever heard of, like, there's a writer-producer union, and if they go on strike, and by the way, I was hearing actors that get paid $20 million are part of this union, so they're also incorporated in this, that these, like, I didn't know Netflix had to contract unions to get content. I thought it was just freelancers. So can you explain to me what's going on and how does it actually affect your guys' industry right now?
Well, there's two. There's a writers union, and then there's SAG-AFTRA, which is the actors. And right now, the one that's hitting now is the SAG-AFTRA. Sorry, I can't speak right now.
So why aren't you guys on strike with them?
Because I'm not part of that union. I'm part of a different union. Okay. I'm part of like a motion picture and television editors union, which is a different union entirely. But the writers and producers are basically the people that actually that write the shows, and the producers that actually put the shows together. It's a different classification of job. And actors, obviously, everybody knows what they do. So, for example, if you have a talent, even if they're a big name, and they're like, on a TV show, they can't work. So you have to find somebody to replace them, that, a non-union actor, the same way that you would on a job site, right? If you have union jobs and they're hiring, say, illegals and whatnot, it's the same sort of deal. So it does affect, it affects people that are in production right now. But if you're in post-production on the side where you're editing the TV shows, for the most part, you're fine.
So let me point out one thing. It used to be this way. So you were on a network TV show. You would have like 20 episodes, 24 episodes. So you'd have like a whole year of work. All right. Now these writers, at least this is from their side. I'm not a writer. I'm not in that union, but this is from their side. Now, basically, you're on 6 episodes and they try to get you out of there as soon as possible. So you're there for, let's say, a couple of months instead of a whole year. At the same time,
Why did that change? Why did that change?
well, no, streaming services came around. That wasn't that way before, right? It used to be like linear TV. Now streaming services are taking over, and they don't need to do 24 episodes. They could do 6, do a test.
Right.
It worked.
Right.
It didn't. Do another
The,
test
the
somewhere else.
other
Fire everybody.
part of-
Do a whole new show.
the other part of it too was that back in the day there was a certain minimum number of episodes that you needed in order to syndicate. So you notice how a lot of TV shows, even if they were shitty, they would keep going till 5 seasons, because at 5 seasons you can take that collectively and then you can just go around and sell it to a bunch of different networks. That's why you'd see like older shows that were on cable TV premiering on non-pay TV, like standard mainstream TV years later. That's what it was. They bought the library and you had to have, I think it was 72 episodes or something. It was minimum 5 seasons. Now you don't have to do that because most of the people that are doing the content are streamers. And let's be honest, regular cable is dead. So,
on top of this, by the way, they made a bad deal years ago, but they had to, because when streaming was first coming around, the people who were streaming, all these studios, convinced all the guilds basically that, hey, you don't need residuals from this because this is new. We don't know if this internet thing is going to work out. They've literally convinced them of that. And now, of course, we know the internet thing has worked out, so they're trying to renegotiate a contract where, hey, you got to keep paying us these residuals. This is the way it used to work, by the way, where all these actors, all these writers kept getting paid, right? So companies like Netflix have changed that model around. They don't do that anymore. It's like a lump sum payment, and you're out. Goodbye. So I assume that's changing.
Right, but it's also a lot harder to prove like residuals. Whereas, like if they know that a movie aired on TV at this time, then they say, okay, then you get a residual every time it airs. But they don't know. Like,
yes,
how
they
do. You
do.
know
Every time they stream
episode...
it and 1 million people watch it, they know exactly how many people are watching
it.
But
now you're asking, but now those networks, you're asking them to sort of self-report those numbers. I think that's where it's tricky.
The issue is like Spotify somehow got the shit end of the stick, and all the musicians got the shit end of the stick. All the record labels are making it, but Netflix has figured out how to fuck everybody. Who knows how they did it? They figured it out where nobody gets shit except Netflix at the end of the day. All right, so I think it's wrong. I think people who work on these shows, because look, I work on these shows, and I don't participate because I'm not part of these unions. I don't get residuals in this case, but I feel that these artists. Look, if you know how hard it is to get a writing TV job, by the way, like it's fucking hard. And as soon as you get it, you land on it, and then you only have 2 months of work. What are you supposed to do for the rest of the year? Try to find another writing TV job? Like that was you hit the jackpot already. You're supposed to hit it like 6 times that year. So this is the problem. You can't do that anymore. So I think they have to work this out.
So when is this going to end? When is the strike over?
As soon as some terms are agreed to. I don't know when.
The problem here is that the margins are already pretty squeezed for most streaming services, right? So where do you give more margin to the actors now? Because there's a disproportionate amount of risk that's being taken every single time these guys make a show. And from the looks of it, a lot of them are very unprofitable. And like you look at Amazon right now, Amazon Prime spent $1 billion on the Lord of the Rings, and that's didn't hit at all. And like I said, I don't know what kind of residuals there's going to be on that, but Amazon already took a giant bath just trying to produce the damn thing. So imagine right now saying, okay, you know what? Even though you have really shitty margins, we want to carve out more shitty margins. So I think a lot of these streaming services, they may have more pain to go, man. Just a thought.
It's kind of a game of whoever has the biggest library wins. To be honest, even though they're not number one, what they're really competing with is someone like Disney that has 40, 50 years of a library there where you continue to sell the same product over and over and over. And they're still trying to build it. So it could be a long time. It could be another 5 or 10 years where they have to burn cash until they have that deep, deep library where they know that there's something on their platform for everyone of every age, enough to justify 12 months of viewing. And that takes a long time to build out. I mean, sure, they can acquire some of it, but you still got to go out and you got to shoot a bunch of it. And then there's all the emerging markets in the world too that you have to service.
Dude, I don't know what's going on at Disney. Did you see the new thing with fucking Snow White? Snow White. Okay, so they just released some visuals of Snow White, the real version, and the actress is Colombian by descent. I
was about to say that she's
Colombian.
Latina. Right?
Yeah, she's Latina. And now here's the funny thing: all the
she's
dwarves,
snow mulatto.
The part that probably irks most people is like all the dwarves are like adults. right? And some of them are, of course, black. Some of them are, like multiracial. But there's only one real like dwarf. The rest of them are just adult humans. Like you couldn't.
Peter Dinklage.
Huh? I think Peter Dinklage is the only one. Yeah, like y'all couldn't find 6 other like dwarves that are actors.
Yo,
It's just.
Can I ask you an Amit question since you're both Middle Eastern? I want to ask you guys how you.
We're
feel
not
about...
Middle Eastern. Stop with that.
I love it. Yes, you are. Okay. No, my question is, okay, as brown folks, do you guys feel like do you feel underrepresented, say, in the television or the content that you guys watch? Do you feel like you would enjoy television and movies better if you saw people that looked like you, stay in starring roles, or had more stories that were like centered around your culture?
No. I think Indian culture is one of those things that we have such a large Bollywood thing going on. We don't really want to have like a new medium, like you're just creating content like and using us as token actors and giving us token roles. Like we have our own original things. Like
yeah, but that's
if you want to build,
I think Chris is about to agree with what I'm about to say. Carlos, we've had the biggest show on Netflix for the past 4 seasons, and it's been the most stereotypical version of Indian life that I've ever seen. Never have I ever. Have you seen this shit?
Nope.
Mindy Kaling, you haven't seen it? Wow, I'm surprised. Mindy Kaling is an Indian producer, and she cast this Indian girl as like as the main character. And like I got through 1 season of it, I was like, it's just stereotype after stereotype after stereotype of Indian culture, and I'm like, bro, I don't need to see this.
What 3 stereotypes are like? Oh, why would they do this? Give me 2 stereotypes.
Overbearing parents that are always about education.
Yep.
Conservative parents that won't let you like go date anyone.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I remember what you're talking about now. I see the clips of it, and then it's like it's really hard for us to watch. Some of it's like, oh yeah, that's funny. It's relatable to like what we grew up with. But then a lot of it is just like, bro, y'all just pandering. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I'd rather have like original content where Indian people are just Indian people. Like you don't need to.
There was Aziz Ansari's show was amazing until he ruined it for you guys.
Aziz wasn't funny though, bro. That's the thing. Chris,
are you crazy? Aziz is funny.
Aziz and Hassan Minhaj are the least funniest Indian people I've ever seen in my life.
I agree.
They're not funny, bro. Andrew Schultz.
You know what though?
Funnier.
Yeah, but you know what? Like people could argue that you're not the best judge of comedy because you think you're the funniest person ever too. Man.
No, but Chris agrees. Chris agrees, bro. Hassan Minhaj.
Chris is a real riot.
No, the thing with Hassan Minhaj is that he's like the stereotypical left-leaning liberal Indian, right? So like everything the dude does, he's like super left-wing about, and I'm like, okay, that's great. What else is there? And the thing with the other thing with what's his name? Aziz was just like a clown. It's like a clown character.
Yep.
Like if you want to get someone good, go to Nimesh Patel. Like Nimesh Patel is a stand-up comedian, hilarious. He'll bring like some comedy to the Indian part of it, but he'll actually do it in a way that's like, yeah, you have fun with it. Same thing with Russell Peters. Like there are definitely people that are underrepresented that should be put in a higher point of view, but each one has, I don't know. I don't think that I don't think Hassan Minhaj is that funny. I think a lot of his writers are probably feeding him lines that are super woke, and he just plays on the woke comedy thing. It's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, I'm interested in making money. I don't really care too much about seeing an Indian guy on TV. Like I just like, all right, whatever. Like I know to some Indian people they feel accepted.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what the argument is. The argument is that maybe it's
not bad. It's not bad to have more representation. I just don't crave it. Like I think there's some people that are like, oh my god, I need to see my ethnicity in Oppenheimer.
So you don't want to see. So you don't want to see like Top Gun with a guy named Patel.
It would be cool, but I don't personally give a fuck because that's not putting money in my pocket. That's not affecting my life at the end.
Well, first of all, okay, it's good that finally, because when I grew up, it was literally all white sitcoms, basically, besides the Cosby Show, and he's proved not too good. Okay, at the end of the day, so it is good that it's opened up because now you see all sorts of races and personalities. The problem that's happening is that now Disney's taking it to the next level where they're changing the past. So if everyone has an expectation of Snow White, I guess Is it wrong for them to make her a Latina? I don't know. It doesn't hold true to everything we've seen for 20, 30 years of Snow White. So
her name is Snow White, bro. Like,
Yeah, but right now
right.
they're gonna be like, her middle name is Ain't.
Snow
No,
Latina.
I think that's where it loses me, because you go to a movie, you get to see all represented people. That's great. And first of all, you want dwarves to be played by dwarves, I feel, so that should probably happen.
You're taking those few jobs that they had.
Right? They don't
And
even have a
you're
lot of
taking them away.
jobs. Like, give them that job.
I just feel like
Imagine Wizard of
why not
Oz with all tall people. Yeah, imagine regular tall people.
Why not just make up a new story, right? Why not just make up a
See
new
that,
story? Why
and I
try
think
to
that's
leverage this old franchise?
yes,
Make up a new story that's just as good.
absolutely.
Because they know they suck at making new IP. That's the
No,
Disney problem.
No, that's not true.
That's not true. The thing is, like, if you give it to the right writers, they could do an amazing job. Like, look at Black Panther, right? Black Panther was a black character who was developed to be a black character. He wasn't like a white character that you just had a black guy play, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, you just have to kind of accept it and go with it. It's like, no, what you want is, if you really want to like create stuff for more diverse representation, give them some originality. Create something original for them, a new superhero that's specifically geared towards that specific culture. If you want to, don't just like put a different version of that race into something. And especially when it comes to like something that's 60 years old or 70 years old, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, we need to be more inclusive, so let's kind of jazz it up a little bit.
Well, the
problem
problem
is they need to take risks, and I think Disney's afraid to take a risk with a new
but hold
show.
on. Snow White is 100 years old. It's not even 60 years old. I think it's 100 years old. Like, you can't change Snow White now. I'm sorry, it's done. And for example, like, I know they're going to release an Iron Man with like a Indian character or a black character or a Korean Iron Man. Like, it's going to happen.
Bro, Robert Downey Jr. was perfect for that.
No, but what I'm saying, if you read the comic, and I did read the comic, yes, Robert Downey Jr. fits that role perfectly. So he is that playboy white guy that played in all the comics too. So I think you need new comics, you need new pop culture. It has to change with the times, and then we adapt to it. But we don't just retrofit things, and it just no one buys it. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I think this is the problem, because Disney's spending money on all this stuff, and eventually they're going to lose. They're losing the audience. They're literally losing the audience. So what does that mean to us as shareholders? If you are a Disney shareholder, that means that now you have to bear the consequences of those decisions. Very similar to how Dylan Mulvaney that whole thing with Bud Light. Bud right now is down 12% year over year. They were probably the most popular American beer for the last, I think, almost like 15 years or something. And now they're they're not at the bottom, but their sales have gone down significantly. I think the top beer right now is Modelo, which I fucking love, by the way. Mexican beers are way fucking better than American beer. Sorry, I don't know if anyone disagrees with that, but
that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, the elephant in the room is ESG. Bud Light would not have done that if they didn't have to hit certain ESG measures. Let's be honest. Let's be real. And I think a lot of what we're seeing with Disney is the same sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't know who makes those decisions and how the upper C-level suite is involved in all of these decisions. It would be interesting to know how it's discussed, because I don't think all the PR campaigns, the CEO is involved in every PR campaign. Like, I don't know if that happens. Anyone know about this?
What's the question exactly?
No, meaning ESG. Carlos bring up ESG.
How does
I'm saying,
impact that?
I'm thinking more like the PR department is like, oh, we have to meet our, okay, we have to get a black person in this content. We have to get an Asian person here. Like, I think that's what they're working with. And they go a little too far. And then the CEO's like, shit, they fucked everything up and I got to go roll it back now. Like, I think he's caught with his pants down and he's not sure what's going on in every single part of the organization. It's impossible for one person to know what tens of thousands of people are doing at any given time, especially all the media and PR.
Also, all these corporate executives have such a monolithic view of what is blackness, what is being Hispanic, what is being an Indian. And so that, like, there are black conservatives out there, right? And so, like, there's such a different world that we're living in that's more multidisciplinary versus monolithic. And so it's hard to get it right.
What's your favorite Mexican beers? Like, mine is Dos Equis, Pacifico, and Modelo. Like, those three Pacifico. Are like
I like your beer choices. I also like Stella a lot. German beers are good just in general.
Yeah.
I like Gatorade.
Amit's probably the only one that Amit, are you one of those people that like, I don't like drinking beer? It tastes
I don't,
icky.
bro. It's nasty.
See, look at dude. Come on.
If you get it, what's that place in Brooklyn that has the frozen taps? If you have a beer that's like super, super cold, dude, there's really nothing like it on a hot day. Come on. It's the new lemonade.
Brooklyn Brewery was awesome in Williamsburg.
Yeah.
I've been on that tour like 3 times. That was a great
Before I moved, I lived like 3 blocks away from there. I lived right there in Williamsburg, right there, right next to Brooklyn Bowl. Are you kidding me? It was. They had what was that? Blue Ribbon, the Blue Ribbon restaurant right there, bro. It was awesome. What a good time to be there.
Yep.
Okay,
are we taking anybody? I have to go soon, but you have a guest questions? Or anything?
I wasn't going
We're
to
at the 15.
today, but
we're at the 15-minute mark. Come on, somebody.
I think you should put up the link. I think we should always have at least one guest.
And it should
more
always
interesting.
be at the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, it actually makes it more interesting. I don't know why you stopped doing that because.
because for like a week no one joined, so I was just like, "Fuck it, I'm not."
No, put it on. Let Trader Wong come on every single time.
Trader Wong.
Question.
No, well, now Trader Wong is he's moderating now, so he's kind of busy.
Yeah, maybe we want to hear their opinions on beer. You know.
Actually,
all right. So while we're waiting for someone to join, Chris, any thoughts on TFC earnings?
Yeah, I think they're going to be good. This is one of the cases where so many regional banks have had their expectations deflated that all they really need to do is just have a slight beat, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is not an industry that's dying." So I think this is the good part about being in industries that have low expectations, where companies in that specific industry don't have to do much to beat it. Like if you remember what happened to big tech in November, everyone was like, "Oh my god, big tech is over." People like things were down 50%. And then the quarter after that, you saw in the earnings, it was like, wait a second, they're still generating a shit ton of cash flow. Like Google is still generating $18 billion in cash, and they're going to do a $60 billion buyback. And then it's like off to the races for the next 6 months of people buying back into the company, you know? And I think, by the way, the most underappreciated company right now is goddamn Google. I've been doing so much research. Like I've spent the last week and a half on just Google. And it's so many people have written Google off as this, like they're going to lose out to ChatGPT. Their search business is over, blah, blah, blah. Dude, ChatGPT, the utilization's already going down. I know some people are going to say, well, it's the summer, so kids are not using ChatGPT to write essays anymore. So that's why. No, dude, I'm seeing a trend of less utilization of the actual product like ChatGPT to actually search for things. Yeah. And Google search is just still as strong. And Google's AI business is actually ramping up like crazy. They're actually a really big competitor to NVIDIA for AI hardware that not a lot of people know about. But there's, like I said, I'll present the bull case after I'm done with all my due diligence. But Google is probably the company that I would want to bet on for the next 2-3 years to get really ahead. And they haven't recovered nearly as much as the others have. Like Microsoft is already back to its 52-week highs. Facebook is getting close to, or Meta is getting close. Man, I hate the fact that they changed their fucking name. They're close to their 52-week highs now. You know, Amazon is still struggling, but they're getting back there again. Google is the only one who's got a tremendous amount of cash flows. They're reducing down their headcount. They're basically, I'll borrow something from Brad Gertzner. Google is getting fit right now, and Google is going to fucking outperform this market. And people are still sleeping on it. I don't know why. I don't know. So yes,
Google and Amazon too, by the way, is still not where it's supposed to be for how strong they are. Especially their one, I think, who covered this or who said this? Their Prime Day made more than like companies making in a whole year. First of all, I think someone compared it to Palantir. Was it?
Yeah, but how much profit did they make on that 12 billion?
No, but my point is they made it in one day. Like that
it's not profit. Those numbers are so stupid, bro. It's 12 billion on like 0%, 1%.
You're forgetting. We're forgetting. Companies like Amazon can turn a spigot anytime they want to generate.
No, they can't.
Yes, they can.
Why haven't they done
crazy?
It? Why haven't they done it yet?
Because they're still in growth mode.
That 12 billion is not profit at all.
No, my point is if you understand they're still in growth mode, if you understand that, then you see where the opportunity lies. But when they do turn that on, you better be prepared and be in that stock. Okay,
I agree. I'm just saying for now, the Prime Day sales it's not that exciting.
Okay.
$12 billion of
Exciting
that
to
moving
me.
shit around. It's not profitable at all.
When me and Chris, I think Chris was buying it too. We were buying calls at 100. We were buying shares at 100.
I know.
At
I'm not saying it's a bad stock. I'm just saying Prime Day numbers are not something to be gaga over.
Amit, what they did was essentially because of COVID, they brought forward a fuck ton of their capex forward. So they spent a lot of that capex in the last couple of years. Now they have the infrastructure built. Now all they have to do is just use it, grow their business. And now all of that money goes directly to the bottom line. You understand? That's the key, man. The only thing that's a hindrance to Amazon is slowdown of AWS, which I think is a natural part of the market cycle, which it'll accelerate back to what it is. They're still the kings of cloud computing. They've got AI computing as another booster coming on the back of that. Dude, Amazon is one of definitely the sleeper stocks, and they've started to reduce down spend on non-essential things. Like Jassy was just talking about Amazon Studios. He went there, he fucking cut a whole bunch of that shit. He was like, look, man, if this is not going to make us money, there's no point. Like we need to stop this
acquisition was pretty stupid. I mean, they should not have paid $9 billion for that. That was
man. They needed a library to get people to use Amazon Prime.
I would actually say you're wrong, and they should buy more studios. They should buy Paramount.
No, but MGM, who watches anything from MGM, bro?
That's not the point. They own James Bond now. They own James Bond now, dude, forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
crazy
and all the IP.
James Bond is overrated. No one watches that shit.
Okay,
are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I have never seen James Bond, bro. I'm Gen Z.
What is wrong with you, boy?
Who the fuck watches James Bond?
Absolutely ridiculous. You have the worst takes, by the way. You've been shitting on Netflix, and when it was $150, you said this is a worthless stock. They don't do anything. They're immediate.
Yeah, I was wrong on Netflix. I'll say that.
No, but you're wrong about all these things. That's what's funny. Like, why do people follow you? I don't understand.
Well, you were wrong on Palantir for a long time.
Oh God. Okay.
So.
I have.
All right, we got Wong in the back.
There you go, Treasure Wong.
Hey, what's going on, Wong?
Hey guys,
Wong's in the fucking Tesseract from Interstellar.
He heard his name through their interwebs, and he's like, all right.
Hang on, I'm gonna change my mic. Hopefully, more clear.
No, you sound.
Why are you afraid? Why are you afraid to show us where you are?
Because I have my underwear drawer literally right behind me, and the door is open, so.
Enough said.
Okay.
How old are you? How old are you? I'm just curious because you look very young.
I'm 22. I was born in 2001. Yeah.
Wow. In the 2000s.
Wow. That's young. That's pretty fucking. I was born in 97, so that's very young.
So that's the guy born in the late 90s.
I was in high school. I was in high school running around in high school with chicks, and you were in diapers. That's insane.
Diapers.
That's insane.
I was born right before 9/11, I think.
What's
not right. 2 months ago.
That's insane.
Over 20th.
I had a company when you were born. I started my first company. That's crazy.
I know, it's kind of crazy how old we are and how young this guy is. Absolutely insane. But
the
good news is you have a long way to go, and you're gonna be successful. You're doing this now.
Hopefully, I mean, I'm trying to a lot of things, and
although it says technical trader, I don't know. Maybe he won't be. It says trader.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
traders make money.
Well, in theory, right? I mean, 90% lose money, and I'm trying to be that 10%. So,
okay,
yeah.
Yeah. Right, so pull up Rango's comment. That's true. Carlos was making babies when you were a baby. I mean, it's true. I wasn't making babies. I was practicing.
Oh God, we made a baby that just as a side note, there was a couple of mistakes made in the younger age, and I thought I was going to be a baby daddy way too early a couple of times.
Listen, I was buying Plan B.
Wait,
I was rushing to the hospital. Like, how do you get this out?
Vitaly, did you have to ever buy a Plan B? You or Carlos?
Yeah. There was a scare.
I did once as well. I did once.
Terrifying. In fact, I almost had a heart attack at like 20.
You don't know. It's not like you don't know for certain if you were or weren't, right? You don't know if you needed it or not. You just buy it. It's literally insurance. It's a put option.
Bro, I went to Walgreens and I went up to the front desk. I was like, I need a Plan B. They're like, do you want the $35 one or the $50 one? And I was like,
oh yeah, right. And you bought the $35
one. Let me two of the $50 ones.
No, you bought the cheap one. You bought the cheap one.
I got the $50 one. I didn't get the Walgreens brand. I got the regular brand.
Wait, so in America,
it took 4 weeks before she texted me that she had her period, but I was like, thank fucking God, bro.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go
Sorry,
ahead with my
Juan.
question. So, right, I mean, I want to join in, but let's continue. Okay, so
5 minutes. We got
So-
5 minutes because I'm
okay.
heading out and I'm heading out in
So,
5 minutes.
so, so far, right? I have this question for a very long time. What happens if the loans get forgiven? So, basically, Biden could forgive the loans, right? And I tried asking this in like Twitter, but I didn't really get an answer. So, does SoFi actually get the let's say 10,000 gets forgiven? Does it actually go to SoFi or does it just get wiped out?
Well, first of all, no. The only thing that the federal government can do is wipe out federal student loans. Like they can't wipe out loans for SoFi. Like if you have a SoFi student loan, you cannot get debt forgiveness like that. As far as I know, there's no like government send SoFi a check.
No, it's a private
whatever,
company. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah. Whatever loans that are owned by the federal government, those are the ones that the federal government can forgive. So that's why some people refuse to refinance, hoping that the government will do it, right? So right now, if you think about it, Amit right now has, let's say, $10,000 in student loans. So now Amit has to make a choice. Do I keep paying my student loans with the federal government, right, hoping that it gets forgiven, or do I refinance to SoFi, who's going to give me a better rate and a better deal on it, right, and help me pay it off sooner, right? Which one do I do? So if people are anticipating forgiveness, then they're not going to refinance to SoFi. So that's where SoFi's business will be hurt. But if the expectation is cut off, like the Supreme Court did, saying, hey, Biden, you don't have the ability to do a mass forgiveness of student loans, that means that now people who have higher rate student loans are going to be more likely to go to SoFi to be refinanced.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but they're holding student loans that they cannot collect interest on for the last 2-3 years. So that's the other issue, that all those loans are on their books, the student loans, which they can't monetize at this point until it's they're allowed to again, basically. Is that right?
Well, I don't know. Like, what do you mean, like SoFi or federal?
SoFi itself. So if all loans were paused, all student type loans, wouldn't the loans they were holding on their books also be paused?
I don't know. To be honest with you, that's a good question.
I'm not sure either.
I think the interest just gets tacked on to the debt, if anything, because that's what the moratorium was. It's not like, oh yeah, the interest that's there is forgiven. It's just tacked on.
It keeps
further
accruing
up.
It keeps accruing. So one day there's a windfall anyway.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, even if the government were to forgive the 10,000, SoFi is very high, not high net worth, but middle class lawyers, doctors, borrowers. So if you take off 10,000 off $100,000, there's still a lot they have to pay back, right? But it's not going to happen. Biden's not going to get this through the Congress, not by 2024. Not by
no. He's just it's completely just to say that they tried, and the other side of the Republicans were so horrible. This is why you got to vote for us. I don't think they actually. But I actually was thinking about this the other day. The federal government does actually forgive private loans, because if you look at what an EV tax credit is, it's essentially the same thing. They give you a credit on your taxes. I don't understand why they don't do something like that, even for a private loan. Why not give you a $10,000 credit on your taxes if you have, if you can prove that you have a loan saved with SoFi? Because that's what they do. You take out a private loan to buy a vehicle, and then they give you $7,500 off your taxes at the end of the year. I don't understand why the same thing isn't done with a student loan.
Yeah.
Well, if this is true, Alex said SoFi, if you want to put it up, almost doesn't have student loans on their balance sheet. If that's true.
Yeah,
how's that possible?
I thought they had a lot of loans on their balance sheet, at least originally. Right. I thought they started diversifying away from it, but
that's because
maybe he means now. Right, maybe it's now.
What they do is they package it and they sell it so that this way, investors can buy the student loans from as a private investor. So remember, most of these banks, what they do is they originate things. They make money on the origination. They bundle all this stuff together, create a security, and then sell it to an investor. And then when they get that cash back, they use that money to do more refinancing. And there you go. That's how they make their money on the spread. It's the same thing with like originators who do housing, where if you want to get a loan for a home, just because you got it issued from one issuer doesn't mean that your loan stays with them. Like I've had that happen to me, where my original mortgage was owned by one company and then was bought by another company. Now the thing is, there's also rights to service the mortgage that also come with it. So the thing is, like, even if the like the letterhead says one company, the money could theoretically be going to another. So as an example, let's say I'm SoFi, I have, I originate all these student loans. what I can do is go to the investors and say, here is the student loan product. I will be the servicer. I will service the student loans. I will collect the money from the users, and I will charge a small fee as a administrative fee, right? And then give you the returns that go after that. And basically they can make money that way too. So there's servicing, there's origination, there's servicing, and then there's actually owning the loans on the book. So
yeah, my mortgage has been passed around 3 times now. I'm with my 3rd company on my mortgage now. Like the original company, then it got bought, then they got bought out by a bigger company.
All right.
Yeah. The first thing you do when you refinance, the first thing they usually do is sell your loan, and then 2 years later they sell it again.
They sell it again.
Basically, they keep passing you around like a hoe. All right, that's it.
Long. You always bring out an interesting discussion in us somehow.
Yeah, I try. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you for doing an awesome job in the chat as well, man. Really appreciate it. See you next time. Bye.
I'll leave you.
All right, guys. See you later. Till tomorrow.
Have a good one, guys. Take care. Okay.
Not a bad view. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back on my channel 10 p.m. tomorrow.
I mean, I don't know. He's on a second floor apartment.
Wait, I thought we were doing 7. I thought we were doing 7.
No, that's July 24th. July 24th.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. See you guys tomorrow at 10.
All right, later.
All right, bye.
Have a good vacation. Bye.